"Daddy, her baby is freezing." The words cut through the Manhattan Christmas Eve like a blade of ice. David Miller, CEO of a billion-dollar hotel empire, stood frozen as his 5-year-old daughter Emily tugged desperately at his coat, pointing at a young woman huddled on a snow-covered bench, her body curved protectively around an infant whose lips had turned blue. In that single moment, watching his daughter's eyes fill with tears for a stranger's child, David faced a choice that would shatter every wall he'd built since his wife's death. If you're watching from your city tonight, comment below and let me know how far this story has traveled, because what happened next changed 4 lives forever. The Christmas lights of Fifth Avenue blazed like fallen stars against the December darkness, their warmth a cruel mockery to those who had nowhere to go. David Miller adjusted his cashmere scarf against the biting wind, his gloved hand holding tightly to his daughter Emily's mittened one. The little girl skipped beside him, her red coat a splash of color against the monochrome evening, her breath forming small clouds in the frigid air. "Daddy, look at all the lights!" Emily's voice rang with the pure wonder that only children possessed, untainted by the grief that still shadowed her father's eyes. "Mommy would have loved them, wouldn't she?" David's chest tightened at the mention of Sarah. 2 years. It had been 2 years since his wife had died, giving birth to what would have been Emily's little brother. 2 years of learning to navigate a world that felt perpetually off balance, like walking through a house where all the furniture had been rearranged in the dark. "She would have, sweetheart," he managed, his voice rough with suppressed emotion. "She loved Christmas more than anyone I knew." They were heading toward Rockefeller Center, maintaining a tradition that felt both necessary and unbearable. Sarah had insisted they go every year, had made David promise to continue even after Emily protested she was too old for such things. "Promise me," she'd said from her hospital bed, her hand weak in his. "Promise me you'll keep the magic alive for her." The weight of that promise pressed against his shoulders as they walked. Around them, New York pulsed with holiday energy. Shoppers hurried past with bags from Saks and Bergdorf Goodman, their faces flushed with cold and consumerism. Salvation Army bells rang on corners, competing with street musicians playing jazzy renditions of carols. The city that never slept seemed especially wakeful tonight, as if Christmas Eve had injected extra voltage into its veins. David's phone buzzed in his pocket, probably Marcus, his CFO, with another emergency about the Singapore acquisition. Running the Archer Hotel Group meant there was always an emergency, always a fire to put out. He ignored it. Tonight was for Emily. "Daddy, can we get hot chocolate after the tree?" Emily asked, tugging on his hand. "The kind with the really big marshmallows?" "Of course, Em. We can—" Emily stopped so abruptly that David nearly stumbled. Her whole body had gone rigid, her eyes fixed on something across the street. Following her gaze, David saw what had captured her attention. A young woman sitting on a bench in the small pocket park between 2 buildings, barely visible in the shadow cast by the streetlight. "Daddy," Emily whispered, and there was something in her voice that made David's heart skip. "Daddy, look." The woman couldn't have been more than 25, though the harsh realities written on her face made her appear older. Her coat, if you could call the threadbare thing a coat, was held closed with safety pins. Newspaper peeked out from her shoes where the soles had worn through. But it wasn't the woman herself that had stopped Emily in her tracks. It was the bundle in her arms. Even from across the street, David could see the woman's body curved protectively around something, rocking slightly in a rhythm every parent recognized. A thin blanket, more holes than fabric, was wrapped around what could only be an infant. "Daddy, her baby is freezing!" Emily's voice rose with panic. "Look, Daddy, the baby's turning blue!" David's first instinct was to keep walking. It was New York. Homelessness was a reality you learned to navigate around, dropping coins and cups while avoiding eye contact, telling yourself you couldn't save everyone. But Emily was already pulling him toward the crosswalk, her small face set with determination that reminded him painfully of Sarah. Honey, we can't just—" "Mommy wouldn't walk away," Emily said, and the words hit David like a physical blow. "Mommy always said we should help people. She said that's what love looks like, doing something when it's hard." The crosswalk signal changed. Emily was already moving, dragging David along with surprising strength for a 5-year-old. His mind raced through possibilities. Was this safe? What if the woman was dangerous? What if she was on drugs? But Emily's words echoed. Mommy wouldn't walk away. As they approached, David could see the situation was even more dire than it had appeared from across the street. The woman's lips were chapped and bleeding. Her hands, wrapped around the baby, were raw and red with cold. The infant, God, it couldn't be more than 3 months old, was barely moving. The woman's eyes snapped open as they approached, immediately filling with the wary fear of someone who'd learned to expect the worst from strangers. She pulled the baby closer, her body tensing as if preparing to run, though David doubted she had the strength. Please, she said, her voice hoarse. Please, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'll move. No, Emily said before David could speak. She was already unwinding her red scarf, the one Sarah had knitted for her last Christmas before she died. This is for the baby. Please, it's warm. The woman stared at Emily as if she were speaking a foreign language. Her eyes, green, David noticed, startlingly beautiful despite everything, moved between the child and David, searching for the trap, the catch. We don't want anything, David heard himself saying. His voice sounded strange to his own ears, thick with emotion he couldn't quite name. My daughter's right. The baby needs warmth. I don't need charity, the woman said, but her voice broke on the last word. The baby made a small sound, barely a whimper, and her composure crumbled. I tried the shelters, but they're full, and the ones that aren't, they wanted to separate us. They said they could take him, put him in emergency foster care, but I can't. He's all I have. He's everything. David knelt down, his expensive coat dragging in the dirty snow. This close, he could see the baby's face. A tiny, perfect face with skin that had taken on a dangerous pallish tinge. The infant's breathing was shallow, too shallow. What's his name? Emily asked, her voice soft. Noah, the woman whispered. His name is Noah. He's 11 weeks old. Like the ark, Emily said solemnly. He saved all the animals from the flood. Despite everything, the woman's lips quirked in what might have been the ghost of a smile. That's right. My little survivor. David's mind was already calculating. The Archer flagship was 6 blocks away. He had a penthouse suite that was always kept ready, medical staff on call. His phone was in his hand before he'd made a conscious decision. We need to get you both somewhere warm, he said. Right now. No arguments. The woman's walls slammed back up. I told you, I don't need... Your baby is showing signs of hypothermia, David said bluntly. His lips are blue, he's barely responsive. If you don't get him warm in the next hour, you'll be dealing with child services anyway because you'll be in an emergency room. The brutal truth of his words hit her like a slap. Tears began sliding down her cheeks, leaving clean tracks through the grime. I'm trying, she whispered. God, I'm trying so hard. I had a job, I had an apartment, but then Noah came early, and there were complications and the medical bills. I lost everything so fast. It happened so fast. What's your name? David asked, his voice gentler now. Anna Thompson. Anna, I'm David, and this is Emily. My car is right there. He pointed to the Range Rover parked at the corner, his driver James waiting inside. Let us help. Just for tonight. Get Noah warm, get some food in you both. Tomorrow you can go back to fighting if you want, but tonight, just let someone help. Anna looked at Noah, whose eyes weren't even open, then at Emily, who was standing there with her scarf extended like an offering, her face full of innocent concern. David saw the exact moment Anna's pride lost the battle with her maternal instinct. Okay, she whispered. Okay. David helped her stand, alarmed at how light she was, how her legs shook with the effort. Emily immediately wrapped her scarf around Noah, cooing at him like he was a doll. James, David said as they reached the car. The Archer. Emergency entrance. Call Dr. Patel, have her meet us there. James, who'd driven David for 15 years and had learned not to question, simply nodded and started the engine. The heat that flooded the car when they climbed in made Anna gasp. It's too much, she said, panicking. The temperature change, it could... Dr. Patel is our on-call physician, David said calmly. She'll know what to do. Just hold him. Keep him close. Anna clutched Noah, rocking him as tears streamed down her face. Emily had scooted close to her, one small hand patting Anna's arm in comfort. "It's okay," Emily said in her serious little voice. "My daddy fixes things. He's really good at it. He'll fix this." David met Anna's eyes in the rearview mirror, saw the doubt there, the fear, the desperate hope she was trying not to feel. He understood. Hope was dangerous when you'd lost everything. Hope could destroy you in ways despair couldn't touch. The drive to the Archer took 10 minutes but felt like hours. Noah had started to stir, making small mewing sounds that were both encouraging and heartbreaking. Anna hadn't stopped crying, silent tears that seemed to come from some inexhaustible well of grief. "How long have you been on the streets?" David asked quietly. 3 weeks, Anna said. 3 weeks, 4 days, and she glanced at the car's clock. 16 hours. The precision of it gutted him. She'd been counting every moment. "Where's Noah's father?" The question came from Emily, delivered with a child's directness. Anna's face hardened. "Gone. The minute the test came back positive, said it wasn't his problem." "That's mean," Emily declared. "Daddies aren't supposed to leave." David's hands tightened on his knees. Sometimes daddies didn't get a choice about leaving. Sometimes mommies didn't either. The Archer rose before them, 40 floors of gleaming glass and steel, lit up like a beacon. David had built his flagship to be more than a hotel. It was a statement, a monument to luxury and refinement. Seeing it through Anna's eyes, he wondered if it looked like salvation or judgment. James pulled into the emergency entrance, a discreet side door used for celebrities and dignitaries who needed privacy. Dr. Patel was already waiting, a small, efficient woman who took one look at Noah and went into action. "Hypothermia, mild to moderate," she said, already checking his vitals. "We need to warm him gradually. Core temperature first." She looked at Anna. "When did he last eat?" "This morning," Anna whispered. I ran out of formula yesterday. I gave him what I had this morning." Dr. Patel's expression didn't change, but David saw her jaw tighten. "We'll take care of it." "Can you walk?" Anna nodded, though she swayed when she stood. David reached for her elbow, steadying her. She flinched from his touch but didn't pull away. They moved through the service corridors, avoiding the lobby with its crystal chandeliers and designer Christmas trees. Emily held Anna's free hand, chattering about the hotel's amenities like a tiny tour guide. "There's a pool on the roof, and you can see the whole city. And the restaurant has chocolate cake that's this tall." She held her hand above her head. "And the beds are so soft, it's like sleeping on clouds." The penthouse suite David directed them to was one of 3 he kept for special circumstances. 2,500 square feet of understated elegance, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of Manhattan's glittering skyline. Anna stood in the doorway like she was afraid to enter, like crossing the threshold might cause her to wake up from a dream. This is too much," she said. I can't pay for this." "You're not paying," David said simply. "You're my guest." "I don't understand." Anna's voice was thick with confusion and suspicion. "Why would you do this? What do you want?" It was a fair question. David wasn't sure he had an answer. All he knew was that Emily's words kept echoing in his head. Mommy wouldn't walk away. "My wife died 2 years ago," he said, the words coming easier than usual. She was the kind of person who would have stopped, who would have helped. I'm trying to be the kind of person she wanted me to be, the kind of father she wanted me to be. Anna stared at him for a long moment, then looked at Emily, who was bouncing on the suite's massive bed, her grief temporarily forgotten in the excitement of the moment. "I'm sorry," Anna said softly. "About your wife." "I'm sorry about your situation," David replied. "Now, let Dr. Patel examine Noah properly. There's a full kitchen. We'll get formula, diapers, whatever you need. When was the last time you ate?" Anna's silence was answer enough. David picked up the room phone. "Room service? This is David Miller. I need a full dinner service sent to Penthouse C, and have someone go to the pharmacy, formula, diapers, infant supplies, complete setup. Women's clothing too. Size. He looked at Anna questioningly. 6, she whispered. But I can't. You can and you will, David said firmly. Tomorrow, we can discuss your options, connect you with services, whatever you need. Tonight, you're safe. Both of you. Doctor? Patel had Noah on the bed, carefully warming him with heated blankets. His color was already improving, and he'd started to cry, weak but insistent cries that made Anna sob with relief. He's going to be fine, Dr. Patel assured her. Dehydrated, hungry, but fine. Babies are resilient. But Mom, she turned her stern gaze on Anna. You're malnourished, exhausted, and showing signs of severe stress. When was the last time you slept? Really slept? Time gets fuzzy on the street, Anna admitted. Then that's what you do tonight. Sleep, eat. Let your body remember what it's like to be warm and safe. Emily had crawled across the bed to where Noah lay, studying him with intense curiosity. He's so small, she said wonderingly. Was I ever that small, Daddy? Smaller, David said, remembering Emily as a newborn, how terrified he'd been that he might break her, how Sarah had laughed at his fumbling attempts at diaper changes. You were 5 pounds, 3 ounces. Noah was 4 pounds, 8 ounces, Anna said softly. The NICU nurses called him their little fighter. Like his mommy, Emily said matter-of-factly. Room service arrived with a parade of carts, soup, salad, pasta, chicken, vegetables, an entire chocolate cake that made Emily squeal with delight. Anna stared at the spread like it might disappear if she blinked. This is too much, she kept saying. Eat, David said gently. Doctor's orders. Anna took a tentative bite of soup, then another. Then suddenly she was eating like she was afraid someone might take it away. David had to look away from the desperate hunger in her movements, the animal need that refined table manners couldn't quite hide. Emily, oblivious to the undercurrents, kept up a steady stream of chatter. She told Anna about her school, her best friend Chloe, her ballet classes, the puppy she was hoping to get for her birthday. Normal, everyday things that seemed to both comfort and pain Anna in equal measure. You must miss it, Anna said suddenly. Normal life. Before. She wasn't looking at David, but he knew the comment was directed at him. Every day, he admitted, but Emily helps. Children don't let you wallow. They demand life keeps moving forward. Noah's all that kept me going, Anna said, stroking her son's cheek as he took his bottle with enthusiasm. There were nights I thought about, but then he'd cry, and I'd know I had to keep fighting. For him. The pharmacy delivery arrived, bags and bags of supplies, diapers, formula, bottles, clothes, blankets, everything a baby could need. The clothing for Anna was simple but quality, jeans, sweaters, undergarments, a warm coat that actually fit. Nobody's ever... Anna couldn't finish the sentence. There's a full bathroom through there, David said, pointing. Bathtub, shower, whatever you prefer. Take your time. Emily and I will watch Noah. Anna looked uncertain. You don't have to... I raised this one from birth, David said, indicating Emily. I think I can handle Noah for an hour. Anna disappeared into the bathroom. Soon they heard the sound of running water, then something that might have been muffled sobbing. David pretended not to notice, focusing instead on Noah, who was now alert and seemingly fascinated by Emily's face hovering above him. He likes me, Emily announced. Look, Daddy, he's smiling. That's probably gas, sweetheart. It is not. It's a real smile. Hi, Noah. I'm Emily. We're going to be friends. David watched his daughter with the baby, saw the gentle way she touched his tiny fingers, the protective hover of her body. Sarah would have been so proud. Sarah would have known exactly what to do, what to say. She'd always been the one with the open heart, the one who saw need and met it without hesitation. Tell me about Mommy, Emily said suddenly. Tell me a happy story about her. It was a ritual they'd developed. When the sadness got too heavy, they'd share happy memories, trying to keep Sarah alive through stories. Well, David said, settling into the oversized armchair with Emily curled in his lap, while Noah dozed in his bassinet. Did I ever tell you about the time she decided to help the homeless veteran outside our first apartment? Emily shook her head, eyes bright with anticipation. We just moved in together, barely had furniture. Your mom was in law school. I was trying to get the first hotel off the ground. Money was tight. But there was this veteran, Michael, who sat outside our building every day. One day it was pouring rain, and your mom couldn't stand it. She invited him up. To your apartment? To our apartment. I came home to find him sitting at our kitchen table, well, it was a card table then, eating soup your mom had made. She'd given him my clothes to wear while his dried. I was shocked, maybe a little angry, but your mom just looked at me and said, "Love isn't love if it only extends to people who make us comfortable." What happened to him? She helped him get into a veterans program, get his benefits sorted out. Last I heard, he was living in Phoenix near his daughter. He sent a card when you were born. Emily was quiet for a moment. Mommy would like Anna and Noah. Yes, so David agreed. She would. Anna emerged from the bathroom an hour later, transformed. Clean, dressed in the new clothes, her dark hair still damp, she looked younger and somehow more fragile. The dirt and exhaustion had been a kind of armor. Without it, her vulnerability was stark. Better? David asked. I don't know how to thank you, Anna said. It's everything. No thanks needed, just rest. We'll figure out next steps tomorrow. Next steps, Anna repeated, like the concept of a future was foreign. I don't even know what that means anymore. It means tomorrow you wake up warm, fed, and safe, David said. Everything else can wait. Emily had fallen asleep on the couch, exhausted from the excitement. David gathered her up, her head heavy on his shoulder. The bedroom is through there, he told Anna. There's a crib for Noah. The kitchen is stocked. If you need anything at all, just call down to the desk and ask for me. You're leaving? There was panic in Anna's voice. I have an apartment on the floor below, David explained. You're not being abandoned. I promise. Anna looked around the suite, at sleeping Noah, at the view of the city lights. This morning I woke up on a bench thinking we might not survive the day. Now, I feel like I'm in someone else's life. It's your life, David said firmly. Just a different chapter. As he carried Emily to the elevator, David heard Anna singing softly to Noah, a lullaby, sweet and sad. The elevator doors closed on the sound, but it followed him down, settling into his chest like an ache. In his own apartment, David tucked Emily into bed, smoothing her dark hair back from her face. She stirred slightly. Daddy? We did good today, right? We did good, baby. Mommy would be proud. David's throat tightened. So proud. Emily smiled and drifted back to sleep. David stood watching her for a long moment, then walked to his study. The photo of Sarah on his desk smiled back at him, that radiant smile that had first caught his attention across a crowded lecture hall 15 years ago. I'm trying, he told her image. I'm trying to be the man you believed I could be. He poured himself a scotch and stood at the window, looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, how many other Annas were there? How many other Noahs? The problem was too big for one man to solve. But maybe that wasn't the point. Maybe the point was just to solve the problem in front of you, one Anna and Noah at a time. His phone buzzed, Marcus again, probably losing his mind over David's radio silence. There would be questions tomorrow, concerns about liability, about the company's image, about the wisdom of bringing strangers into their lives. David turned the phone off. Tomorrow's problems could wait until tomorrow. He thought about Anna's face when she'd walked into the suite, the disbelief and wonder and fear all mixed together. He thought about Noah's tiny fingers wrapping around Emily's finger. He thought about Sarah, always Sarah, and what she would say if she were here. Love isn't love if it only extends to people who make us comfortable. Outside, snow began to fall again, heavy flakes that would blanket the city by morning, covering the dirt and grime, making everything look clean and new. David finished his scotch and headed to bed, knowing that tomorrow would bring complications he couldn't yet imagine. But tonight, a mother and child were warm and safe. Tonight, his daughter had learned what compassion looked like in action. Tonight, maybe, Sarah would be proud. The city hummed its endless song outside his window, sirens and car horns and the distant rumble of the subway. New York never stopped, never paused, never gave you a moment to catch your breath. But sometimes, in the midst of all that relentless motion, you could create a moment of stillness, a moment of grace. David closed his eyes and tried not to think about Anna's green eyes, the way they'd looked when she'd said, "Nobody's ever makaetit ishchaso sechem," and couldn't finish. He tried not to think about how long it had been since he'd felt truly useful, truly needed, truly alive. Change was coming. He could feel it in the air, like the electricity before a storm. Whether he was ready or not, whether it was wise or not, something had shifted tonight. The careful walls he'd built around his heart, the ones that kept him functional but numb, had developed a crack. And through that crack, life was beginning to seep in again. The morning arrived with a gentleness that felt almost foreign to Anna. For the first time in weeks, she woke not to the harsh bite of cold or the hostile stare of a security guard, but to soft sheets and the warm weight of Noah sleeping peacefully beside her. The suite was bathed in pale winter light, Manhattan spread out below like a different world entirely, one she could observe but no longer belonged to. Noah stirred, his tiny fist finding its way to his mouth, and Anna felt the familiar surge of fierce love mixed with terror. Every day since his birth had been a battle against impossible odds, and now this strange respite felt more frightening than another night on the streets. At least she understood the rules there. Here, in this palace of glass and marble, she was lost. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Anna tensed, pulling Noah closer, the animal instinct to protect still sharp despite the luxury surrounding them. "Anna? It's David. May I come in?" She found him standing in the doorway with Emily, both dressed for the day, carrying bags that smelled of fresh bread and coffee. Emily was practically vibrating with excitement, her dark hair pulled into pigtails that bounced as she moved. "We brought breakfast," Emily announced, pushing past her father with the confidence of a child who'd never met a room she didn't own. "Daddy says you might not know what you like, so we got everything. There's croissants and bagels and fruit and eggs and bacon and—" "Emily, breathe," David said with fond exasperation. He met Anna's eyes, and she saw something there that made her chest tighten. Not pity, which she'd grown used to, but a kind of careful respect. "How did you sleep?" "Like the dead," Anna admitted, then immediately worried it was the wrong thing to say. Too honest, too raw. But David just nodded. "First good night's sleep does that. After Sarah died, I didn't sleep properly for 3 months. Then one night, my body just gave up fighting, and I slept for 14 hours straight. Emily thought I died too." "I did not," Emily protested, but her face had gone serious. "I just got scared when you wouldn't wake up." Anna watched them, this father and daughter navigating grief with the clumsy grace of people who loved each other too much to let pain win. It made her think of her own father, how he disappeared one day when she was 7 and never came back. Her mother had spent the rest of her short life looking for him in bottles and strangers' faces. "Thank you for breakfast," Anna said, accepting a coffee cup from David. The first sip was heaven. Real coffee, not the watered-down stuff from shelter kitchens or the instant packets she'd sometimes stolen from convenience stores. "There's something we need to discuss," David said, settling into one of the suite's plush chairs, while Emily immediately gravitated toward Noah, cooing over him like he was a fascinating new toy. Anna's stomach dropped. Here it comes, she thought. The catch, the price. There was always a price. "I've made some calls," David continued, and Anna gripped her coffee cup tighter. "There's a program through the Manhattan Family Housing Initiative. They have transitional apartments, job training, childcare support. I know the director. We've donated to them for years. They can have a spot for you by Monday." Anna stared at him. That's in 3 days. "You're welcome to stay here until then, longer if needed. But I thought you'd want options, real options, not just charity." "Why?" The word came out sharper than she intended. "Why do you care what happens to us?" David was quiet for a moment, watching Emily help Noah grip her finger. "Did Emily tell you how her mother died?" She said, "In childbirth. Placental abruption, 0 warning. 1 minute Sarah was laughing about paint colors for the nursery, the next she was hemorrhaging. They saved Emily but couldn't stop the bleeding in time. Sarah got to hold her for exactly 3 minutes before..." He stopped, his jaw working. Anna recognized the look, the way grief could ambush you mid-sentence even years later. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "The point is, life can change in an instant. You know that better than most." Sarah believed in karma, in putting good into the world. She would have said meeting you wasn't random, that there was a reason Emily saw you on that bench. "You don't believe that?" David's smile was rueful. "I'm a businessman. I believe in spreadsheets and contracts and quantifiable results. But Emily has Sarah's heart, and when she sees someone who needs help, she can't walk away. Neither could her mother. I'm trying to honor that." Before Anna could respond, David's phone rang. He glanced at it, frowning. "I'm sorry. I need to take this." "It's the head of our Shanghai office." He stood, then paused. "The hotel services are at your disposal. Spa, restaurants, anything you need. Just charge it to the room." After he left, Anna sat in bewildered silence while Emily chattered to Noah about her favorite Disney movies. The casual mention of charging things to the room, as if Anna was the kind of person who'd ever done such a thing, made her want to laugh and cry simultaneously. "Do you want to see the pool?" Emily asked suddenly. "It's on the roof and it's heated, and you can swim while it's snowing." "I don't have a swimsuit," Anna said automatically. "The gift shop has them." "Come on!" Emily was already heading for the door, and Anna found herself following, Noah bundled against her chest in a carrier that had appeared with yesterday's supplies. The elevator rose smoothly, silently, opening onto a world Anna couldn't have imagined. The rooftop pool was enclosed in glass, yes, but it was the view that stole her breath. Manhattan stretched out in every direction, buildings piercing the gray sky like crystal formations. Steam rose from the pool's surface, creating an ethereal fog that made the whole space feel dreamlike. "Isn't it beautiful?" Emily said, spinning in circles. "Mommy designed it." "Well, she helped. She said people needed a place to float above their problems." Float above their problems? Anna almost laughed at the irony. Her problems felt like they had followed her up here 30 floors above the street, impossible to escape even in this paradise. "Mrs. Miller must have been special," Anna said. "She was the best mommy in the whole world," Emily said matter-of-factly. "She used to sing me songs she made up, and she could braid hair in fancy ways, and she never got mad even when I was bad." "You? Bad? I can't imagine." Emily grinned, a mischievous expression that transformed her face. "One time I put glitter in Daddy's shampoo. His head sparkled for a week. Mommy laughed so hard she cried." Anna found herself smiling, really smiling, for the first time in weeks. "Your dad must have loved that." "He pretended to be mad, but I saw him smiling in the mirror." Emily's face went thoughtful. "He doesn't smile as much now. Not since Mommy went to heaven." The elevator dinged, and David emerged, his phone call apparently finished. He took in the scene, Emily dancing around the pool edge, Anna standing with Noah, the morning light painting everything gold, and something in his expression softened. "Emily, away from the edge," he called, parent instinct overriding everything else. "I can swim," Emily protested. "Not in your clothes, you can't." As they bickered with the comfortable rhythm of a well-worn argument, Anna studied David. He was handsome in that polished way wealthy men often were. Sharp jawline, perfectly styled dark hair with distinguished hints of silver, clothes that probably cost more than she'd made in a month at her last job. But there was something else, a weight he carried in the set of his shoulders, the careful way he held himself, like he was afraid of taking up too much space in the world. "Mr. Miller." "David," he corrected. "Please. David, I need to be honest with you. I don't know how to exist in this world." She gestured at the opulent space around them. "I was a graphic designer before Noah. A good one. But I lived in a studio in Queens, bought groceries with coupons, considered a night at Applebee's fancy. She shook her head. "This is like being on another planet." "You don't need to know how to exist here," David said gently. "This is temporary. The program I mentioned, it's designed for people exactly in your situation. Single mothers who've hit hard times but have the skills and determination to rebuild. And if I fail, then you'll try something else. But Anna, you've survived 3 weeks on the streets with an infant in December. I don't think failure is in your vocabulary. Noah chose that moment to start fussing, his little face scrunching up in pre-cry warning. Anna bounced him gently, but his complaints escalated. He's hungry, she said, already reaching for the diaper bag she'd been carrying everywhere. There's a family lounge through here, David said, leading them to a beautifully appointed room with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. We designed it for nursing mothers. Privacy, comfort, everything needed. Anna settled into one of the chairs to feed Noah, and David turned to give her privacy, but she stopped him. You don't have to leave, unless you're uncomfortable. I raised Emily. I've seen it all, he said, but he kept his eyes politely averted anyway. Emily had no such qualms, watching with fascination. I was bottle-fed, she announced. Daddy says Mommy tried, but I was too impatient. You were eager, David corrected, just like with everything else. As Noah nursed, Anna felt the strange normalcy of the moment wash over her. Here they were, strangers thrown together by circumstance, sitting in a room that probably cost more to decorate than most people's annual salaries, talking about infant feeding like any parents might. Can I ask you something? Anna said. About your wife? David nodded. How do you do it? Keep going, I mean. Keep being a parent when half of you is gone. David was quiet for so long Anna thought he wouldn't answer. When he spoke, his voice was rough. Some days I don't know. Some days I'm just going through the motions, hoping Emily doesn't notice. But then she'll do something, laugh at a joke, master a ballet move, help a stranger on a bench, and I see Sarah in her. Not gone, just transformed, continuing through Emily. That's beautiful, Anna whispered. That's survival, David corrected. We tell ourselves stories to make the unbearable bearable. The honesty of it, the raw admission, made Anna's eyes burn with unshed tears. She'd been telling herself stories too, that Noah's father would come back, that she'd find another job quickly, that the eviction was temporary. Story after story until reality crushed them all. What's your story now? David asked. What do you tell yourself? That Noah deserves better than a mother who failed him before he was even 3 months old. No. The fierceness in David's voice startled her. No, that's not the story. The story is that Noah has a mother who fought impossible odds to keep him safe, who chose sleeping on benches over being separated from him, who survived what would break most people. Emily, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, piped up. Like a superhero. Mommy used to say superheroes aren't the ones who never fall down. They're the ones who always get back up. Anna looked at this little girl who'd lost so much but still shone with hope, and felt something crack inside her chest. Not breaking, but opening. Like light getting in through boarded windows. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of ordinary magic. Emily insisted on giving them a full tour of the hotel, proudly showing off the restaurant where they make pancakes shaped like anything you want, the business center where Daddy has important meetings with boring people, and the spa where they put cucumbers on your eyes, but I don't know why. David trailed behind them, fielding constant phone calls, but never fully disengaging. Anna caught him watching them sometimes, his expression unreadable. She wondered what he saw. A charity case? A disruption? Or something else entirely? Lunch was room service again, Emily's choice this time, which meant grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup and enough French fries to feed a small army. Anna tried to eat slowly, to not betray the desperate hunger that still lived in her bones, but Emily had no such concerns, chattering through mouthfuls about her upcoming school Christmas pageant. I'm playing an angel, she said proudly. Not the main angel, but still an important one. Angels are very important. All angels are important, Anna agreed, even the ones we don't see. Emily beamed at this validation, and David's phone rang again. This time his face darkened as he looked at the screen. I have to go down to the office for a few hours, he said apologetically. Emergency board meeting. Will you be all right? Anna wanted to say that she'd been taking care of herself for 24 years, that a few hours in a luxury suite wasn't going to challenge her. But the truth was, she was terrified of being left alone with all this kindness, this comfort she didn't deserve and couldn't repay. We'll be fine, she said anyway. Emily, you can stay. I want to stay with Anna and Noah, Emily said immediately. Please, Daddy. I'll I'll be good. David looked uncertain, and Anna understood. Leaving your child with a virtual stranger, even one you'd rescued, went against every parental instinct. I would never hurt her, Anna said quietly. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I trust you, David said, and seemed surprised by his own words. It's fine. Emily, listen to Anna. I'll be back by 3. After he left, Emily immediately took charge. We should play dress-up, she announced. Noah can be our audience. I don't have dress-up clothes, Anna pointed out. The closet has robes, really fancy ones, and we can use towels for capes and... Emily was already racing toward the bedroom, her enthusiasm infectious. What followed was an hour of pure silliness that Anna hadn't experienced since her own childhood. They draped themselves in hotel robes, fashioned crowns from toilet paper, and put on a show for Noah, who watched with wide-eyed baby confusion that they interpreted as rapt attention. You're good at this, Emily said, adjusting Anna's toilet paper crown. Do you have brothers or sisters? No, just me. But I used to babysit for the neighbors when I was younger. I wish I had a sister, Emily said wistfully. Or a brother. Daddy says maybe someday, but I don't think he means it. He gets too sad when I ask. Anna's heart clenched. This little girl, carrying so much loss, still hoping for more family, more love. It made her think of Noah, how she'd imagined siblings for him once upon a time, back when she thought Mike would stay, would be the father she'd dreamed of. Families come in all shapes, Anna said carefully. Sometimes the family you choose is just as real as the one you're born into. Emily considered this seriously. Like how Daddy chose Mommy and she chose him? Exactly like that. They were interrupted by a knock at the door. Anna tensed, a habit from the streets where unexpected visitors meant trouble, but it was just a hotel employee with a delivery. Mr. Miller asked us to bring these up, the woman said, wheeling in a cart full of shopping bags. He said you might need some things. After she left, Anna approached the bags cautiously, like they might explode. Inside were clothes, real clothes, not just emergency supplies. Jeans that would actually fit, sweaters and soft fabrics, a winter coat that looked impossibly warm. And for Noah, tiny outfits that weren't just functional, but beautiful. Pretty? Emily exclaimed, holding up a onesie with little elephants on it. Noah will look so cute. Anna picked up the coat, a deep green wool that probably cost more than her old monthly rent, and fought back tears. The last person who'd bought her clothes had been her mother, before the cancer took her. That had been 5 years ago. Why is your daddy doing this? She asked Emily, not really expecting an answer a 5-year-old could give. Emily looked up from the baby clothes, her expression surprisingly serious. Daddy says sometimes the best way to stop hurting is to help someone else stop hurting. The simple wisdom of it, delivered in a child's matter-of-fact tone, undid something in Anna. She sat down hard on the plush carpet, tears flowing freely now, while Emily patted her shoulder with small, comforting hands. It's okay to cry, Emily said sagely. Daddy cries sometimes too, usually in the shower where he thinks I can't hear. But crying helps the sad get out. Anna pulled the little girl into a hug, this child who'd lost so much but still had so much love to give. Emily hugged back fiercely, and for a moment Anna felt less alone than she had in months. When David returned, he found them like that. Anna and Emily on the floor surrounded by shopping bags, Noah between them on his blanket, all three looking at a picture book Emily had produced from somewhere. It's about a bunny who gets lost but finds his way home, Emily was explaining. Mommy used to read it to me when I got scared. David's expression when he took in the scene was something Anna couldn't quite read. Pain, maybe, but also something softer, like seeing a future he'd thought was impossible. How was your meeting? Anna asked, suddenly self-conscious about being on the floor in a borrowed hotel robe with toilet paper still in her hair from their game. Tedious, David said, but he was smiling slightly. The board is concerned about the Singapore expansion. They think we're overextending. Are you? He looked surprised by the question. Maybe. Sarah always said I was too ambitious for my own good, but ambition is easier than stillness. If I keep moving, keep building, I don't have to think about... He trailed off, but Anna understood. She'd been the same after her mother died. taking on extra shifts, extra projects, anything to avoid the quiet moments when grief could catch up. "Daddy, can Anna and Noah come to my Christmas pageant?" Emily asked suddenly. "It's tomorrow night, and everyone gets to bring guests, and—" "Emily, I'm sure Anna has—" "We'd love to come," Anna interrupted, surprising herself. "If that's okay?" Emily squealed with delight, launching herself at Anna for another hug. Over her head, Anna met David's eyes. There was a question there, and a warning maybe, but also something that looked like gratitude. The afternoon wore on with the strange domesticity of people playing at being a family. David ordered dinner from the hotel restaurant. Real food, Emily insisted, not room service. And they ate at the suite's dining table like this was normal, like they'd done it 100 times before. "Tell Anna about the time you caught the fish," Emily demanded through a mouthful of pasta. David groaned. "That's not a dinner story." "It is." "It's funny." Emily turned to Anna. "Daddy took me fishing last summer, and he caught a fish, but when he tried to take it off the hook, it jumped and hit him in the face, and he fell in the lake." "The fish was clearly vindictive," David said with mock seriousness. "It had been planning that attack all morning." "Fishes can't plan," Emily giggled. "They don't have big enough brains." "This one did." It was an evil genius fish. As they bantered, Anna found herself laughing, really laughing, for the first time since Noah's birth, maybe longer. She'd forgotten what it felt like to be part of something warm and silly and safe. Noah, who'd been contentedly watching from his bouncer, chose that moment to produce what could only be described as an explosive diaper. The smell was immediate and overwhelming. "Oh God," Anna muttered, jumping up. "I'm so sorry, Baptism by fire," David said calmly. Or in this case, baptism by... Well, Emily once managed to hit the ceiling during a change. The ceiling, Anna. I still don't understand the physics of it. It was baby's superpowers, Emily said solemnly. As Anna changed Noah, she could hear David and Emily clearing the table, their voices a comfortable duet of routine. This was what she'd imagined when she was pregnant. Not the luxury, but the partnership, the shared jokes, the easy rhythm of family life. "All clean," she announced, returning with a fresh-smelling Noah. "Can I hold him?" Emily asked. "I promise to be careful." Anna looked at David, who nodded. "She's actually very good with babies. One of her friends has a little brother." Emily sat very still as Anna placed Noah in her arms, supporting his head like she'd been taught. Noah stared up at her with that unfocused baby intensity, and Emily stared back, fascinated. "He has your eyes," Emily told Anna. "Green like emeralds. Mommy had green eyes too." David went very still. Anna saw him swallow hard, his hand gripping the back of the chair. "Did she?" Anna asked gently. "The most beautiful green," Emily said, still focused on Noah. "Daddy said they were like looking at spring." "I said that." David's voice was rough. "At the cemetery. You thought I wasn't listening, but I was." The moment hung there, fragile and painful and somehow precious. Anna watched David struggle with memory, with grief that clearly still had the power to ambush him. "Your mommy sounds like she was beautiful inside and out," Anna said to Emily. "She was," Emily agreed, "but Daddy says beautiful isn't about how you look. It's about how you make other people feel." "Smart Daddy," Anna murmured, catching David's eye. He looked away, but not before she saw the sheen of tears he was fighting. As evening settled over the city, the lights coming on like stars in the windows of surrounding buildings, Emily began to yawn. "Bedtime, little one," David said. "But I'm not tired," Emily protested, even as she rubbed her eyes. "The pageant's tomorrow. Angels need their sleep." Emily pouted but didn't argue further. She kissed Noah's forehead gently, then surprised Anna by kissing her cheek too. "Good night, Anna. I'm glad we found you." After Emily was tucked into the pull-out sofa bed, insisting she wanted to stay close to Noah, David and Anna found themselves alone in the living area, the city lights their only illumination. "She's extraordinary," Anna said softly. "She saves me every day," David admitted. "After Sarah, I wanted to disappear, just cease existing. But Emily needed breakfast and lunch and dinner. She needed school drop-offs and bedtime stories and someone to check for monsters under the bed. She needed me to keep breathing even when I didn't want to. I understand that, Anna said. Noah's the only reason I'm still here. They sat in comfortable silence, two people who understood loss in their bones, watching the city pulse with life below them. The offer stands, David said finally. The program. But there's no rush. Stay as long as you need. Why? Anna asked again. The real reason. David was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. Because, for the first time in 2 years, Emily laughed like she used to. Really laughed. Not the careful kind that's afraid of seeming too happy, and because, he paused, seeming to wrestle with the words. Because when I walked in today and saw you both with her, for just a moment, the world felt right again. Like maybe all the broken pieces could somehow fit together into something new. Anna's breath caught. She wanted to say something, anything, but words felt inadequate. Instead, she reached across the space between them and touched his hand briefly. He turned his palm up, catching her fingers for just a moment before letting go. I should check on Noah, she said, standing. Anna. She turned back. David was silhouetted against the windows, his expression hidden. Thank you. For tonight. For letting Emily... Just thank you. Anna nodded, not trusting her voice, and went to check on her son. Noah was sleeping peacefully in his crib, tiny chest rising and falling with perfect rhythm. Next to him, Emily had kicked off her covers, one arm flung out like she was reaching for something in her dreams. Anna covered her gently, and Emily stirred slightly. Anna? She mumbled, still mostly asleep. Yes, sweetheart? Are you going to stay? Anna looked at this little girl who'd lost so much, at her baby son who deserved so much better, at the lights of the city that had chewed her up and spit her out and somehow led her here. For now, she whispered. I'm staying for now. Emily smiled and drifted back to sleep. Anna stood watching both children, hers and this one who'd claimed a piece of her heart in less than 2 days, and wondered if maybe, just maybe, broken things really could be put back together. Not the same as before, but different. Maybe even stronger. Outside, snow began to fall again, and Anna thought about David's words, all the broken pieces fitting together into something new. It sounded impossible. It sounded like hope. It sounded like the kind of story Sarah Miller might have believed in. And for the first time in months, Anna let herself believe in it too. The auditorium of St. Catherine's Elementary was exactly what Anna had expected from a private school on the Upper East Side. Polished wood floors, perfect acoustics, and parents who looked like they'd stepped out of a Ralph Lauren catalog. She stood at the entrance holding Noah, acutely aware that despite the new clothes David had bought her, she still felt like she had homeless stamped on her forehead. There's Daddy! Emily exclaimed, waving enthusiastically from her position in the angel chorus on stage. She was wearing a white robe with gold tinsel wings, her face glowing with excitement. David appeared at Anna's elbow, having arrived separately from his office. He'd changed from his business suit into something more casual, but still expensive. Dark jeans and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than Anna's entire former wardrobe. You came, he said, and there was something in his voice that suggested he hadn't been entirely sure she would. I promised Emily, Anna said simply. I don't break promises to children. They found seats near the middle, David nodding to various parents who eyed Anna with poorly concealed curiosity. She could practically hear their thoughts. Who was this woman with David Miller? Where was she 2 years ago when Sarah died and the gossip mill went into overdrive about eligible widowers? Ignore them, David murmured. Half of them are on their third marriages, and the other half are held together by Xanax and wine. Anna stifled a laugh, adjusting Noah, who was fascinated by the stage lights. An elegant blonde woman in the row ahead turned around, her smile sharp as crystal. David, how wonderful to see you here. And who's this? Her eyes raked over Anna with the kind of assessment that cataloged everything from her drugstore mascara to the price tag on her new coat. This is Anna Thompson, David said smoothly. Anna, this is Margaret Whitfield. Her daughter Chloe is Emily's best friend. Oh, you're the one staying at the hotel. Margaret's voice rose just enough to ensure the surrounding parents heard. Emily told Chloe all about you. Such a generous thing David's doing, taking in a homeless mother and baby. The holidays really do bring out the charity in people, don't they? The words hit Anna like ice water. Charity. That's what she was. David's good deed for the season, something to make him feel better about his wealth while she played the grateful pauper. Anna's my friend. Emily's voice rang out from the stage, clear and fierce. The entire chorus had gone quiet, and Emily was standing with her hands on her hips, glaring at Margaret. She's not Charity. She's my friend and Noah's mommy, and she's staying with us because we want her to. Emily, her teacher said gently, we need to start the program. But Emily wasn't done. And Mrs. Whitfield, my mommy said, if you don't have anything nice to say, you should keep your mouth shut. A ripple of shocked laughter went through the audience. David's face was a study in mixed emotions, mortification, pride, and something that looked like suppressed amusement. Margaret turned back around, her face flushed. I'm sorry, David started to say to Anna, but she shook her head. Don't. She's defending me. No one's ever... Anna's voice caught. No one's defended me like that since my mother died. The pageant began, but Anna barely heard the songs and readings. She was too aware of David beside her, of the way he unconsciously leaned toward her when Noah fussed, how he smiled when Emily forgot her line and improvised something about angels liking chocolate chip cookies. This was what Mike had promised her: partnership, family, belonging. But Mike had run the moment things got difficult, while David, a complete stranger, had opened his world to her without asking for anything in return. It didn't make sense. Nothing about the last 3 days made sense. After the pageant, Emily bounded over to them, still in her angel costume. Did you see me? Did you see when I sang the high note? You were perfect, David said, scooping her up, even when you improvised. Mrs. Whitfield was being mean, Emily said, shooting a glare at the woman's retreating back. Mommy said we should stand up to bullies. Your mom was right, Anna said. Thank you for standing up for me. Emily wriggled out of David's arms and took Anna's free hand. Come on! There's cookies and juice in the cafeteria, and I want to show you to my friends. Before Anna could protest, she was being dragged through the crowd, David following with an apologetic shrug. Emily introduced her to what seemed like half the school. This is Anna and baby Noah, and they're staying with us, and Anna's really good at dress-up. And Noah is really cute. And did you know he's only 3 months old? Some parents were kind, offering congratulations on Noah and polite conversation. Others kept their distance, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Anna felt like an exhibit at a zoo. The homeless woman David Miller had rescued, a story they'd tell over wine later. I need some air, she told David after an hour of forced smiles and awkward small talk. There's a garden courtyard through here, he said, leading her outside. The December air was sharp but clean, a relief after the cloying warmth of the cafeteria. Anna sank onto a bench, Noah sleeping against her chest. David sat beside her, maintaining a careful distance. I'm sorry about Margaret, he said. She's always been honest, Anna finished. She said what everyone was thinking. I am Charity. This whole thing, staying at the hotel, the clothes, coming to Emily's school, I'm a project. You're a good deed. You're not... I am, Anna insisted, and that's okay. I'm grateful, David. More grateful than you can imagine. But I'm not naive. Men like you don't just take in women like me without expecting something. David was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, harder. You want to know what I expect? Fine. I expect to sleep through one night without dreaming about Sarah dying. I expect to look at Emily without seeing everything she's lost. I expect to feel something other than emptiness where my heart used to be. He stood, pacing to the garden's edge. You think you're my charity project? You're wrong. You and Noah, you're proof that life keeps going even when it shouldn't. When I saw Emily with you both yesterday, laughing, playing, just being a kid again, that wasn't charity. That was salvation. Anna stared at him, this man who commanded boardrooms and billion-dollar deals coming apart in a school garden. She stood, shifting Noah to one arm, and touched David's shoulder. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so used to defending myself, I forget that other people might be broken too. David turned to face her, and for a moment they were close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his brown eyes, could smell his cologne, something expensive and subtle. The space between them hummed with possibility. "Daddy!" "Anna!" Emily's voice shattered the moment. She came running into the garden, her angel wings crooked. "They're doing the Teacher Appreciation Awards. We have to go back." David stepped back, the moment broken. But as they walked back inside, Anna felt something had shifted. The careful walls they'd both maintained had cracked, revealing the raw truth underneath. They were two people drowning in different oceans, but somehow finding air in each other's presence. The next morning arrived gray and cold, snow clouds heavy over Manhattan. Anna woke to find David already in the suite's kitchen, making coffee while Emily sat at the counter eating cereal and chattering about her friend Isabella's birthday party next week. "Can Anna and Noah come?" Emily asked through a mouthful of Lucky Charms. "That's up to Isabella's parents, sweetheart," David said carefully. "But I want them there. Isabella has a baby brother too, and Noah could play with him." Anna accepted a cup of coffee from David, their fingers brushing in the exchange. That brief contact sent an unexpected jolt through her. When was the last time she'd been touched with gentleness by someone who wasn't her child? "We need to talk about Monday," David said quietly. "The program I mentioned." "Right. Reality." Anna tried to keep the disappointment out of her voice. Of course this couldn't last. Glass slippers always had midnight deadlines. "I spoke with the director yesterday. They have a 2-bedroom apartment in Washington Heights. It's not fancy, but it's safe, clean. The program provides 18 months of subsidized rent while you get back on your feet. They also have job placement assistance, childcare vouchers, even therapy if you want it." "Therapy?" Anna almost laughed. Where would she even begin? "My mother died and I found her. My boyfriend abandoned me. I lost everything and lived on the streets with an infant. Some things were too broken for therapy to fix." "It sounds perfect," she said instead. "There's another option," David said, not meeting her eyes. "The hotel has a staff position opening up. Guest services coordinator. It comes with an apartment, a small 1-bedroom in the building we own on East 78th. Not charity," he added quickly. "You'd be working. Full benefits, decent salary. The hotel provides employee childcare." Anna's hand stilled on her coffee cup. "Why would you do that? "Because you're qualified. I looked you up, your portfolio, your work history. You're talented, Anna. You just hit a rough patch." "You looked me up?" David had the grace to look embarrassed. "I wanted to understand how someone like you ended up on the streets," Anna finished. "It's simpler than you think. Hospital bills from Noah's birth. Complications meant I couldn't work for 2 months. No work meant no income. No income meant eviction. No apartment meant no address for job applications. It's a downward spiral that's almost impossible to stop once it starts." "But it can be stopped," David said. "The position, it's real. No special treatment. You'd report to Marcus, my CFO. He doesn't do favoritism, trust me. If you're not good at the job, you're out." Emily, who'd been suspiciously quiet, suddenly piped up. "If Anna works at the hotel, does that mean I'll see her every day?" "It means Anna would be very busy," David said carefully. "This would be her job, not whatever you're imagining, Em." But Emily was already spinning fantasies. "Noah could come to my school's daycare. We could have lunch together. Anna could help with my homework." "Emily." David's voice held a warning. Anna looked between them, this father trying to maintain boundaries while offering her a lifetime. This little girl who'd already decided Anna belonged in their world. It was too much, too fast, too good to be true. "I need to think," she said. David nodded. "Of course. Take your time. The program doesn't need an answer until Sunday." Before anyone could say more, David's phone rang. He frowned at the screen, then answered with a terse, "Miller." His face darkened as he listened. "No comment. No, Marcus, I said no comment. I don't care what they're printing." He hung up, his jaw tight. Anna felt dread pool in her stomach. "What is it?" she asked. David was already pulling up something on his tablet. He turned it toward her, and Anna's heart sank. The headline screamed, "Hotel Mogul's Homeless Mistress David Miller's Scandalous New Romance. The article was accompanied by a photo clearly taken yesterday at the school. David's hand on Anna's back as he guided her inside, Emily between them like a perfect family portrait. Another showed them in the garden, standing close enough to suggest intimacy. "Oh God," Anna breathed. "David, I'm so sorry. This is—" "Bullshit," David said flatly. "This is complete bullshit, and we're going to ignore it." But Anna was already reading, each word a nail in the coffin of her dignity. The article painted her as a gold digger who targeted a grieving widower, using her baby to manipulate his daughter. They'd even found Mike somehow, quoted him saying Anna had always been ambitious above her station. "Mommy said newspapers lie," Emily said, peering at the tablet. "She said they make up stories to sell papers." "Your mom was right," David said, but Anna could see the tension in his shoulders, the careful way he was holding himself. "This will hurt your business," Anna said. "Your reputation." "My reputation?" David laughed, but there was no humor in it. "My reputation is that I'm a workaholic who neglected his dying wife for merger meetings. They've written worse about me." "But this affects Emily." "No," Emily interrupted, her small face fierce. "I don't care what they say. Anna's our friend. Friends don't leave because of stupid newspapers." David's phone was ringing again. Then Anna's, the cheap prepaid David had bought her. Then the hotel room phone. The vultures were circling. "Pack your things," David said suddenly. Anna's heart dropped. Of course. He needed distance from the scandal. She understood. "I'll go." "We'll go," David corrected. "All of us. I have a house in the Hamptons. We'll spend the weekend there. Let this blow over. By Monday, they'll have moved on to someone else's scandal. David, you don't have to—" "Yes," he said firmly. "I do. You're not facing this alone." An hour later, they were in David's Range Rover heading out of the city. Emily was thrilled about the impromptu adventure, chattering about showing Anna the beach and the playroom and her mommy's art studio that Daddy kept locked, but maybe they could open it just this once. David's hands were tight on the steering wheel as they drove. Anna could see him checking the rearview mirror, watching for photographers following them. Noah slept peacefully in his car seat, oblivious to the chaos he'd been born into. "There's something you should know," David said quietly, as the city gave way to suburbs. "Sarah and I, we weren't perfect. The papers want to paint her as this saint I'm betraying, but the truth is, we were having problems before she got pregnant." Anna said nothing, sensing he needed to speak more than he needed a response. "She wanted me to slow down, spend more time at home. I kept promising I would after the next deal, after the next acquisition. I thought we had time. I thought there would always be more time." "You couldn't have known," Anna said softly. "No, but I should have listened. She was trying to tell me what mattered, and I was too busy building an empire to hear her." He glanced at Anna. "Don't let them make you feel guilty for existing, for needing help. Sarah would have done exactly what I did. She would have stopped for you." The house in the Hamptons was not what Anna expected. Instead of some modern monstrosity, it was a weathered shingle-style home that looked like it had grown from the dunes themselves. Inside, it was all warm woods and comfortable furniture, family photos covering every surface. "Mommy loved it here," Emily said, running through the rooms. She said it was her breathing place. Anna understood immediately. The house felt like Sarah, warm, welcoming, unpretentious despite its obvious value. Through the windows, the Atlantic stretched gray and endless, winter waves crashing against the shore. "Her studio is upstairs," David said. I haven't been in there since." "Then we won't go in," Anna said quickly. "No, Emily's right. It's been 2 years. Sarah would hate that I've turned it into a shrine." The studio was a sun-filled room with windows on 3 sides. Canvases were stacked against the walls, landscapes, portraits, abstracts in vivid colors. One easel still held an unfinished painting, a beach scene with a small figure that might have been Emily building sandcastles. "She was talented," Anna breathed. "She was everything," David said simply. Emily had found a box of art supplies and was already pulling out brushes and paints. "Can we paint, Daddy?" "Anna, do you paint?" I used to, Anna admitted. Before Noah. I was a graphic designer, but I painted for fun. Then paint, Emily demanded with the imperious command of a 5-year-old. They spent the afternoon in Sarah's studio, Emily making enthusiastic messes while Anna tentatively picked up a brush for the first time in months. David sat in the corner with Noah, pointing out the window at seabirds, his deep voice a soothing rumble. Anna found herself painting from memory, the view from her old apartment, a tiny slice of sky between buildings. It wasn't much, but it had been hers. As she painted, she felt something loosening in her chest, some knot that had been pulled tight for so long she'd forgotten it was there. That's beautiful, David said, appearing at her shoulder. It's sad, Anna countered. Can it be both? Emily demanded they hang all the paintings to dry, creating an impromptu gallery. Looking at them, Emily's chaotic rainbow, Anna's lonely skyline, even David's attempt at a sailboat that looked more like a banana, Anna felt a strange sense of completion, like they'd made something together, even if it was just a mess of paint and possibility. That evening, after Emily was asleep, Anna found David on the deck despite the cold, staring out at the dark ocean. She joined him, pulling the blanket she'd brought around both their shoulders. The story's gotten worse, he said, showing her his phone. Now they were speculating about whether Anna had targeted David, whether the baby was even hers, whether this was all an elaborate con. Maybe I should go, Anna said. Disappear? Let you get back to your life. Is that what you want? Anna thought about it, really thought about it. No, she admitted, but what I want hasn't mattered for a long time. It matters to me, David said quietly. Anna, I know this is insane. I know we've known each other for 4 days and the world thinks you're using me and I'm having some kind of breakdown. But for the first time since Sarah died, I don't feel like I'm sleepwalking through life. David, I'm not asking for anything, he said quickly. I'm not expecting anything. I need you to know that this isn't charity, not anymore. Maybe it started that way, but now. He trailed off, and Anna found herself turning toward him. In the moonlight, she could see the vulnerability in his face, the fear that she might run. This man who could buy anything, who commanded respect and attention everywhere he went, was afraid she might leave. Emily needs stability, Anna said carefully. She can't get attached to us if we're just going to disappear. Then don't disappear, David said simply. Take the job. Take the apartment, not for me, but for you and Noah. Build a life, Anna. Let us be part of it, whatever that looks like. And if the press will always find something to write about. I've learned you can't live your life trying to avoid their stories. Anna thought about Noah, about the life she wanted for him. She thought about Emily, already planning their future adventures. She thought about David, offering her not just charity, but choice, agency, a chance to rebuild on her own terms. Okay, she said. The job. I'll take the job. David's smile was like sunrise. Really? Really. But David, we go slow. Whatever this is between us, we go slow. For Emily, for Noah, for ourselves. Slow, he agreed. I can do slow. They sat there, wrapped in the same blanket, watching the ocean. Anna thought about the bench where David had found her, how close she'd come to giving up. 4 days. Her entire world had changed in 4 days. Can I ask you something? David said. That first night when I approached you, you looked ready to run. What made you trust me? Anna considered the question. Emily, she said finally, the way she looked at you, like you were her whole world. I figured anyone who could inspire that kind of love couldn't be all bad. She's the best thing I ever did, David said. Her and? I was going to say Sarah, but that's not quite right. Sarah was the best thing that ever happened to me. Emily is the best thing I ever did. They fell into comfortable silence. Inside, Noah began to cry, and Anna started to get up, but David stopped her. Let me, he said. You sit. Enjoy the quiet. Anna watched him go, this complicated man who'd lost everything and somehow kept going. She thought about Margaret Whitfield's words, charity, and realized how wrong she'd been. This wasn't charity. This was something else, something harder to define. Two broken families finding a way to fit their jagged edges together. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. When she opened it, her blood ran cold. It was from Mike. Saw the news? That's our son you're using as a meal ticket. Maybe it's time I claimed my parental rights. Anna's hands shook. Mike, who'd signed away his rights before Noah was even born. Mike, who'd called her a gold-digging whore when she'd asked for help with medical bills. Mike, who now saw an opportunity. She deleted the text, but she knew it wouldn't be the last. The vultures weren't just circling in the press. Her past was coming back, drawn by the scent of David's money and the possibility of a payday. Inside, she could hear David singing softly to Noah, some lullaby she didn't recognize. Emily had woken up and joined him, her voice sweet and off-key. Anna closed her eyes and tried to memorize this moment, this breath of peace before the storm she could feel coming. The weekend passed in a blur of beach walks and board games, of Emily teaching Noah to high-five, mostly just grabbing his tiny hand and waving it around, of David cooking elaborate breakfast while Anna sketched at the kitchen table. It was a fantasy, Anna knew, a brief respite from reality. But it was a beautiful fantasy. On Sunday evening, as they prepared to return to the city, Emily found Anna packing Noah's things. "You're not leaving, right?" Emily asked, her voice small. "You promised you'd take the job." "I'm not leaving," Anna assured her, "but Noah and I will have our own apartment, our own space." "But why?" "We have room. Daddy's apartment has like 1,000,000 bedrooms." Anna knelt down to Emily's level. "Because sometimes people need their own space to be themselves. But we'll see each other all the time, I promise." Emily considered this. "Will you still come to my birthday? It's in March, and I want a unicorn cake." "I wouldn't miss it for the world." Emily hugged her tight, and Anna felt the weight of the promise. March seemed impossibly far away, a future she couldn't quite believe in. But Emily did, and maybe that was enough. The drive back to the city was quiet, each of them lost in thought. As they approached Manhattan, Anna could see David tense, his phone already lighting up with messages he'd been ignoring all weekend. "It's going to be rough this week," he warned. "The press, the gossip." "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Anna looked at Noah sleeping peacefully, at Emily drawing pictures in the back seat, at David's worried face. Her phone had 6 messages from Mike, each more threatening than the last. The story had gone viral. Her face was all over the internet, her past being excavated by strangers. "No," she said honestly, "I'm not ready. But I've never been ready for anything that's happened to me. I've learned ready is a luxury I can't afford." David reached over and squeezed her hand briefly. "We'll face it together." Together, such a dangerous word. Anna had learned not to trust in together, not to lean on anyone but herself. But looking at David's determined face, at Emily's innocent trust, she thought maybe, just maybe, she could try one more time. As they entered the city, the lights of Manhattan glittering like a promise or a threat, Anna held her sleeping son and tried to believe in the future David was offering. Not a fairy tale, but something better, a chance to rebuild, to create something new from the ashes of what they'd both lost. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The press would dig deeper. Mike would make his threats real. The board would pressure David. The gossips would whisper. But tonight, in this car with these people who'd inexplicably become hers to protect, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. It was a dangerous thing, hope. It could break you worse than despair. But as Emily reached forward to hold her hand, as David navigated them through the city streets toward whatever came next, Anna decided to take the risk. Some things were worth breaking for. The employee apartment on East 78th Street was modest by David's standards, but palatial by Anna's. 1 bedroom, a small living area, a kitchen with actual counter space. After 3 weeks on the streets, it felt like a palace. Anna stood in the doorway holding Noah, unable to quite believe this was real. "The furniture is basic, but you can change anything you want," David said, setting down the boxes of their few possessions. "There's a budget for employee housing improvements." Emily was already exploring, opening every cabinet and closet. "This is nice. It's cozy, like a real home, not like Daddy's apartment that's too big and echoey." "Emily," David warned, But Anna could see he was fighting a smile. "It's perfect," Anna said, meaning it. "It's more than perfect." It had been 3 days since they'd returned from the Hamptons. 3 days of photographers camped outside the hotel, of Anna's face plastered across tabloids, of Mike's increasingly aggressive texts. But David had been a shield against all of it, his lawyers issuing cease and desist orders, his security keeping the press at bay. "Your first day is tomorrow," David reminded her. "Marcus will meet you at 9. He's tough but fair. Don't let him intimidate you." "After everything else, I think I can handle one CFO," Anna said, trying for confidence she didn't feel. David's phone rang. He glanced at it and frowned. "It's Richard Blackstone. I need to take this." Richard Blackstone was chairman of the hotel's board, a man whose name was spoken in hushed tones around the property. Anna watched David's face darken as he listened. "No, Richard. No, I won't, because it's none of your damn business who I—" He stopped, visibly controlling himself. "We'll discuss this at the board meeting, not before." He hung up, his jaw tight with anger. Emily had gone quiet, recognizing her father's dangerous mood. "They want you gone," Anna said. It wasn't a question. "They want the scandal gone. They think if you disappear, the story dies." "Maybe they're right." "No." The word was sharp, final. "I've let the board dictate too much of my life already. They pushed me to expand when Sarah was sick, said the company needed to show strength. I chose them over her too many times. Not again. David, if this threatens the company will survive. It survived worse." He ran a hand through his hair, suddenly looking exhausted. "Anna, I need you to understand something. This isn't about charity or pity or even Emily anymore. This is about me choosing to live instead of just exist. You and Noah, you've woken something up in me. Don't ask me to go back to sleep." Before Anna could respond, Emily tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy, are the mean men trying to make Anna leave?" "No one's making anyone leave," David said firmly, but Anna could see the worry in his eyes. That night, after David and Emily had gone, Anna sat in her new apartment feeling the weight of everything crushing down. She'd started with nothing, and now she had too much. A job she hadn't earned, an apartment she couldn't afford on her own, and the affection of a little girl who'd already lost too much. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Mike. "I know where you are. We need to talk about custody, unless you want to make this worth my while." Blackmail. He was actually trying to blackmail her. Anna looked at Noah sleeping in his new crib, another gift from David, and felt rage rise in her throat. Mike had abandoned them, left them to starve, and now he wanted to profit from their survival? She called the number he'd texted from. He answered on the second ring. "Anna, baby, I knew you'd come around." "What do you want, Mike?" "What's mine? That rich boyfriend of yours has deep pockets. I figure 100 grand keeps me quiet about what kind of mother you really are." "What kind of mother I am?" Anna's voice was deadly quiet. "I'm the kind who slept in doorways to keep our son warm." "Where were you, Mike?" "Playing the game wrong, apparently. Should have stuck around to hit the jackpot." "You signed away your rights. Papers can be challenged, especially when the mother is mentally unstable, living with a stranger, exposing the baby to danger." He'd clearly been coached, probably by whatever bottom-feeder lawyer he'd found. "Or we can make this all go away." "Your choice." Anna hung up and immediately called David, her hands shaking. "He wants money," she said without preamble when he answered. "Mike, he's threatening to challenge the custody arrangement unless I pay him off." "How much?" "David, no, I can't let you—" "How much, Anna?" 100,000. "But David—" "Done. Give me his contact information. My lawyers will handle it. I can't take your money to solve my problems." "You're not taking anything. I'm protecting my employee from harassment. This is a business decision." Anna knew he was lying, that this had nothing to do with business, but she also knew Mike wouldn't stop. He'd smell blood in the water and keep coming back for more. "There has to be another way," she said. "There is. We could let him take you to court, drag your name through more mud, traumatize Noah with a custody battle. Is that what you want?" Anna closed her eyes, defeated. "No." "Then let me help. Please, Anna, let me do this one thing." The next morning, Anna's first day of work, she arrived to find Marcus Winters waiting in the lobby. He was younger than she'd expected, maybe 40, with shrewd eyes that missed nothing. Miss Thompson, let's be clear about something from the start. I don't care about your relationship with David. I don't care about the gossip. I care about whether you can do this job. The moment you can't, you're gone. David can't protect you from me. Understood? Understood, Anna said, oddly relieved by his bluntness. Good. Now, let's see what you can do. The work was challenging but manageable. Anna's design background helped with the visual aspects of guest services, and her recent experience with desperation gave her empathy for difficult guests. She found herself good at solving problems, at seeing what people needed before they asked. Not bad, Marcus admitted at the end of the day. Not great, but not bad. Tomorrow we'll work on the booking system. Anna was exhausted but exhilarated. She'd done it. She'd worked a real job, earned actual money. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She picked up Noah from the hotel daycare. Another surreal experience, leaving her baby with qualified caregivers instead of clutching him on a frozen bench, and found Emily waiting in the lobby with her nanny. Anna, how was your first day? Was Marcus mean? He's always mean to Daddy. Did you see the fountain in the courtyard? Can Noah and I play tomorrow? Breathe, Emily, Anna laughed, echoing David's constant refrain. David appeared from the elevator, his face lighting up when he saw them. It was such a natural scene, meeting after work, children chattering, the comfortable chaos of families reuniting. Anyone watching would think they belonged together. Daddy, can Anna and Noah come for dinner? Please? Our chef is making lasagna. David looked at Anna questioningly. She knew she should say no, maintain boundaries, keep things professional. But Emily's hopeful face and David's careful smile made the words stick in her throat. Lasagna sounds wonderful, she heard herself say. David's apartment was nothing like Anna had imagined. Yes, it was enormous, the penthouse of a building he owned, but it was also clearly a home where a child lived. Emily's artwork covered the refrigerator, toys were scattered across the living room floor, and there were visible fingerprints on the windows where Emily had pressed her face against the glass. Sarah designed it, David said, following Anna's gaze around the space. She wanted Emily to have room to run, to be a kid, even 30 floors up. The lasagna was perfect, because of course David employed a private chef because apparently that was normal in his world. Emily dominated the conversation, telling elaborate stories about her day at school, her plans for her birthday party, her hopes for a puppy that David kept deflecting. You're not eating much, David observed, watching Anna push food around her plate. Mike signed the papers, Anna said quietly. Your lawyers were very efficient. He's officially out of our lives. Good. It cost you $100,000. It cost me nothing. It bought Noah a future without that man's shadow. That's priceless. After dinner, Emily insisted on showing Anna her room, a princess paradise in purple and pink with a reading nook that looked out over Central Park. This was Mommy's favorite spot, Emily said, curling up in the nook. She used to read me stories here every night. Daddy tries, but he doesn't do the voices right. I do voices, David protested from the doorway. No, you do one voice for everyone. Mommy did different voices for every character. Anna sat down next to Emily, Noah in her arms. What kind of stories? All kinds. But her favorite was about a princess who saved herself instead of waiting for a prince. Smart princess, Anna said. Mommy said all princesses should learn to save themselves first. Then if a prince shows up, it's just a bonus. David's expression was soft, lost in memory. Your mother was very wise. Will you tell Noah stories when he's bigger? Emily asked Anna. Every night, Anna promised. Good. Everyone needs stories. Later, after Emily was in bed, Anna and David stood on his terrace. The city spread below them like a carpet of lights. Noah was sleeping in the portable crib David had bought for his apartment. For convenience, he'd claimed, as if it was normal to keep baby furniture for other people's children. The board meeting is tomorrow, David said. They're going to push hard for me to distance myself from you. Maybe you should listen to them. David turned to face her, his expression intense. Anna, I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone. The night Sarah died, we argued. She wanted me to skip a board meeting, to stay with her at the hospital. She said she had a bad feeling. I told her she was being hormonal, that I'd be back in 2 hours. She died while I was in that meeting, talking about quarterly projections. Anna reached for his hand, holding it tight. I've done everything the board wanted for 2 years, David continued. I've expanded the company, increased profits, played the grieving widower rebuilding his empire. But Emily's right. I don't smile anymore. Haven't really smiled until a 5-year-old dragged me across the street to help a stranger. Until I watched you sing Noah to sleep. Until I remembered what it felt like to care about something more than spreadsheets and stock prices. David, I'm falling for you, he said simply. I know it's too fast, too complicated, too everything. But I'm falling for you, Anna Thompson, and I don't want to stop. Anna's breath caught. She'd been so focused on survival, on getting through each day, she hadn't let herself acknowledge what had been building between them. But standing here, his hand in hers, the truth was undeniable. I'm terrified, she admitted. Everyone I've ever loved has left. My father, my mother, Mike. I don't know how to trust that someone will stay. I can't promise forever, David said. Sarah taught me that forever is a lie we tell ourselves. But I can promise to try. To wake up every day and choose to stay. Before Anna could respond, David's phone rang. He ignored it, but it rang again immediately. You should answer that, Anna said. It was Marcus, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. David, we have a problem. Someone leaked the security footage from that first night. The video of you bringing Anna and the baby into the hotel. It's everywhere. David put the phone on speaker, his face grim. It gets worse, Marcus continued. They've identified Anna's ex. He's giving interviews claiming she's an unfit mother, that she used the baby to manipulate you. The board is in emergency session. Richard is calling for your resignation. My resignation? David's voice was dangerously calm. He says you've compromised the company's reputation, that your judgment is impaired. David, he has enough votes. If you don't distance yourself from this situation, from Anna, you could lose everything. Anna felt the floor drop out from under her. This was her fault. David was going to lose his company, his life's work, because he'd tried to help her. I have to go, she said, already moving toward Noah's crib. Anna, wait. No, David. This is exactly what I was afraid of. I'm poison. Everything I touch falls apart. She was crying now, hot tears of frustration and self-loathing. Your board is right. Your judgment is impaired. You're throwing away everything for someone you barely know. I know enough, David said firmly. I know you fought for your son when everyone else would have given up. I know you make Emily laugh like she hasn't since Sarah died. I know you see me, not my money or my hotels or my reputation, but me. That's not enough. It's everything. David's composure finally cracked. Anna, do you understand what you've given me? For 2 years I've been dead inside, going through the motions, existing for Emily but not living. You made me want to live again. That's worth more than any company. Anna stared at him, this man willing to sacrifice everything for her and Noah. It was too much, too big, too frightening. I need time, she whispered. I need to think. David nodded, though she could see the effort it took not to argue. Take all the time you need. But Anna, know this. Whatever the board decides, whatever happens with the company, my feelings won't change. I choose you. I choose us, even if you can't choose me back. Anna left with Noah, her mind spinning. In the elevator, she held her son close, breathing in his baby scent, trying to ground herself. The security guard in the lobby gave her a sympathetic look. Everyone knew about the scandal by now. Her phone was buzzing with texts. 3 from David, which she couldn't bear to read. 1 from an unknown number that made her blood run cold. You think you've won, but I know things about you that would make your precious David run. Mike hadn't given up. The 100,000 had just been the beginning. She was almost to her apartment when she saw them, photographers, dozens of them, surrounding the building. Someone shouted her name, and suddenly they were swarming, cameras flashing, voices yelling questions. Anna, is it true you targeted David Miller? How much is he paying you? Is the baby really yours? Anna clutched Noah, trying to push through, but they pressed closer. Noah started crying, overwhelmed by the noise and lights. Anna felt panic rising. They were trapped. Then suddenly David was there, appearing from nowhere with building security. He wrapped his arm around Anna, shielding her and Noah with his body, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Back off, all of you, or I'll have you arrested for harassment. This is private property." They made it inside, Anna shaking, Noah screaming. David guided them to the elevator, his hand steady on her back. "How did you know?" Anna gasped. "The security guard called me. I was already on my way over." He hit the button for her floor. "Anna, you can't stay here. It's not safe." "I'm not going back to your apartment." "Then the hotel. Just for tonight, until we figure something out." Anna wanted to argue, but Noah was still crying, and she was so tired. Tired of fighting, of running, of being strong. "Okay," she whispered. "Just for tonight." But even as David called for his car, even as they snuck out the back entrance, Anna knew nothing would ever be just for tonight with them. They were past that, past simple, past safe. The hotel suite felt like coming full circle. Same luxury, same view, but everything had changed. Anna wasn't a stranger David had rescued anymore. She was, what? His employee? His friend? The woman he was falling for? "The board meeting is in 6 hours, David said, checking his phone. "Richard's called in everyone, even the international members. You should go home. Prepare." "I should be wherever you are," David countered. "The board can wait." "No, David. This is your life, your legacy. You can't throw it away for what? For love?" The word hung between them, heavy with possibility. "Because that's what this is, Anna. Or what it could be if you'd let it." Anna looked at him, this beautiful, broken man offering her everything. She thought about her mother, who died still waiting for Anna's father to come back. She thought about Mike, who'd promised her the world and delivered nothing but pain. She thought about trust and risk and the terrifying possibility of happiness. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted. "I don't know how to let someone love me." "Then we'll learn together," David said simply. "We'll make mistakes and figure it out as we go. But Anna, we have to try. Emily needs us to try. Noah needs us to try. I need us to try." A knock at the door interrupted them. David opened it to find Marcus standing there, his expression grim. "The board's been meeting all night," he said without preamble. "Richard has the votes, David. Unless you publicly renounce any romantic involvement with Ms. Thompson, you're out as CEO by morning." "Then I'm out," David said calmly. "David, don't be stupid. This company is your life." "No," David corrected. "It was Sarah's in my dream." "But dreams change, Marcus. People change. I'm not the same man who built this empire." Marcus turned to Anna. "You could stop this. Walk away. Let him keep what he's worked for." Anna looked at David, saw the certainty in his eyes. He'd already chosen. The question was, what would she choose? "I tried to walk away," she said quietly. "He followed me. He keeps following me, even when I push him away." "Because you're worth following," David said. Marcus threw up his hands. "You're both insane. Fine. Throw away $1 billion company for some romantic notion. But don't say I didn't warn you." After he left, David and Anna sat in silence, the weight of what was happening settling over them. "I can't let you do this," Anna said finally. "It's already done. The moment I brought you here that first night, it was done. I just didn't know it yet. Your board will either accept my decision or not. Either way, I'll be fine. I have enough personal wealth to never work again. Emily will be fine. The question is, will you be fine? Can you handle being with someone the press calls a fool for love?" Anna laughed, surprising herself. Better a fool for love than a fool for nothing. David smiled, that rare, real smile that transformed his face. "Is that what we are? Fools for love?" "Maybe," Anna said, moving closer to him, "but maybe that's not the worst thing to be." David pulled her into his arms, and Anna let herself be held. For the first time since her mother died, she felt safe. Not the temporary safety of a hotel room or a security guard, but the deep safety of being truly seen and chosen anyway. Noah made a small sound from his crib, not quite crying, but considering it. Anna started to get up, but David was already moving. "Let me," he said, scooping Noah up with practiced ease. "Hey there, little man. Can't sleep either." Watching David with her son, the gentle way he held him, the soft nonsense he murmured, Anna felt her last walls crumble. This was what she dreamed of when she was pregnant. Not the luxury, but the partnership. Someone who'd get up in the night, who'd share the weight of raising a child. "Tell me about Sarah," Anna said suddenly. "Tell me about falling in love with her." David looked surprised but settled back on the couch with Noah, considering the question. "We met in college. She was studying art. I was in business. We shouldn't have worked, but somehow we did. She made me see the world differently, not as something to conquer, but something to appreciate. She was light, Anna, pure light. You miss her?" "Every day. But lately, it's different, less like drowning, more like a gentle ache, something I can carry without it crushing me." "Because of Emily?" "Because of you," David corrected. "You and Emily and Noah. You've shown me that life keeps going, that there's still beauty after loss." Anna moved closer, Noah between them, this makeshift family that shouldn't work but somehow did. "The board meeting will happen whether I'm there or not," David finished. "Richard wants me out. He has the votes. By noon tomorrow, I won't be CEO anymore." "How are you so calm?" David looked at her, really looked at her. "Because for the first time in 2 years, I know what matters. And it's not the company." Anna's phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "Miss Thompson? This is Jennifer Walsh from the New York Times. I'm writing a story about your relationship with David Miller, and I wanted to give you a chance to tell your side." Anna started to hang up, but something in the woman's tone stopped her. "What do you mean, my side?" "Your ex-boyfriend has made some serious allegations about your mental health, your fitness as a mother. And there are questions about Mr. Miller's judgment, his stability after his wife's death. This is your chance to set the record straight." Anna looked at David, who was listening intently while still rocking Noah. "The record," Anna said slowly, "is that David Miller saved my son's life. He took us in when we had nothing, expected nothing in return, and has shown more kindness and integrity than anyone I've ever known. If his board wants to punish him for having a heart, then they don't deserve him. And the allegations about your mental health? I'm a single mother who survived homelessness with an infant. If that doesn't require mental strength, I don't know what does. Can I quote you?" Anna met David's eyes. He nodded slightly, trusting her. "Yes," Anna said firmly. "Quote every word." After she hung up, David was smiling that transformative smile again. "That was brave," he said. "That was probably stupid. I just gave an interview to the New York Times. You defended us. That was brave." Emily appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleepy eyes. "I had a bad dream." Without hesitation, she climbed onto the couch, fitting herself between David and Anna like she belonged there, which Anna realized she did. "What was the dream about, sweetheart?" David asked. "Anna and Noah went away and we couldn't find them." Anna's heart clenched. She pulled Emily close, this little girl who'd lost so much already. "We're not going anywhere," Anna said, and meant it. Whatever happened with the board, with the press, with all of it, she meant it. "Promise?" Emily's voice was small. Anna looked at David over Emily's head. He was watching her with such hope, such patient love, that her breath caught. "I promise," she whispered. They stayed like that as dawn broke over Manhattan. David, Anna, Emily, and Noah, a family forged not by blood but by choice, by circumstance, by the strange alchemy of souls finding each other in the darkness. The board meeting was in 3 hours. The story would break soon. Mike was still out there, planning his next move. Everything was about to change. But in that moment, in that suite where it all began, they were together. And maybe, Anna thought, as Emily's breathing evened out in sleep, maybe that was enough. Maybe choosing each other in the face of everything trying to tear them apart was its own kind of victory. David reached over, his hand finding hers. "Whatever happens," he said quietly, "we face it together." Together, Anna agreed, and for the first time in her life, she believed it. The boardroom at the Archer Hotel Group headquarters was a study in corporate power, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan, a massive mahogany table that had witnessed dozens of million-dollar deals, and portraits of past chairmen watching like sentinels. David stood at the head of the table, facing 12 board members who'd flown in from around the world for this emergency session. Richard Blackstone sat directly opposite him, his silver hair gleaming under the lights, his expression one of paternal disappointment calculated to maximum effect. "David," Richard began, his voice carrying the weight of 40 years in business, "we've known each other since you were fresh out of Harvard. I watched you build this company with Sarah. I held Emily the day she was born. This isn't personal." "Everything is personal, Richard," David replied calmly. "You just pretend otherwise when it suits you." "The numbers don't lie," board member Patricia Chen interjected, sliding a tablet across the table. "Stock price down 12% since the story broke. 3 major corporate accounts threatening to pull their contracts. The Shanghai investors are reconsidering. Temporary market volatility," David countered. "It will stabilize." "Not with her still in the picture," Richard said bluntly. "David, I understand. You're lonely. The girl is pretty, vulnerable. She triggered your protective instincts, but this has gone far enough." "Her name is Anna," David said, his voice dangerously quiet. "And she's not a girl. She's a woman who survived circumstances that would have broken most people in this room." "She's a liability," board member Thomas Wright said. "Her ex-boyfriend sold his story to 3 tabloids this morning. Claims she has a history of mental instability, that she deliberately got pregnant to trap him." "Lies from a man who abandoned his child," David shot back. "Doesn't matter if they're lies," Richard said. "Perception is reality in our business. You know this, David. You taught me this." Marcus entered the room, his face grim. He handed David his phone without a word. The New York Times article was live. The headline read, "Love in the Time of Judgment, David Miller's Stand Against Corporate Cynicism." David read quickly. Jennifer Walsh had written a nuanced piece that portrayed him not as a man having a breakdown, but as someone choosing humanity over profit. Anna's quotes were powerful, dignified. There was even a statement from Dr. Patel about the medical emergency that first night, confirming that Noah would have died without intervention. "This changes nothing," Richard said, though David caught the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "The board has lost confidence in your judgment." "Then remove me," David said simply. "But know this, I own 32% of this company. Sarah's trust, which I control until Emily turns 21, owns another 15%. You remove me, and I'll sell every share to Marriott. They've been circling for years." The room erupted, board members shouting over each other, Richard's face turning an alarming shade of red. David stood calmly in the center of the storm, thinking about Anna and Noah back at the hotel, about Emily at school, about what really mattered. "You wouldn't dare," Richard finally managed. "Try me," David said. "I'm done living for this company. I'm done sacrificing everything that matters for quarterly earnings. Sarah died while I was in this room, Richard, in this exact room, discussing expansion strategies while she bled out in a hospital bed. I won't make that mistake again." "What do you want?" Patricia asked, ever practical. 6 months, David said. "Give me 6 months to prove this won't affect business. If I'm wrong, I'll step down voluntarily. No fight, no selling to competitors. But if I'm right, if the numbers recover and the scandal dies, you never question my personal life again." The board exchanged glances. Richard's jaw worked like he was chewing glass. 3 months, Richard countered. 6, David insisted, and Anna keeps her job regardless. She's proven herself valuable to Marcus already. "She's been there one day," Thomas protested. "And Marcus doesn't keep dead weight," David reminded them. "If she wasn't capable, she'd already be gone." The vote was close, 7-5 in favor of the 6-month trial. David felt no victory, only exhaustion. These people had once been friends, allies in building something magnificent. Now they were just obstacles between him and the life he was trying to build. As the board members filed out, Richard lingered. "You're making a mistake, David. That girl will take you for everything. The only mistake I made was waiting for permission to live my life, David replied. And Richard? If you ever call Anna that girl again, our professional relationship ends immediately. David left the boardroom to find Marcus waiting in his office. That was either brilliant or suicidal, Marcus said. Probably both, David admitted, loosening his tie. How's Anna? Hiding in your hotel with your daughter, who apparently faked a stomachache to skip school and protect Anna from, and I quote, mean photographers. David couldn't help but smile. Of course, Emily had launched her own protection campaign. The Times piece is getting traction, Marcus continued. Hashtag Save David and Anna is trending. The public loves an underdog love story. It's not a story, David said firmly. It's our life. Which is why it works, Marcus said. David, I wasn't sure about this. But seeing you these past few days, you're different. More like the man who started this company with Sarah, less like the ghost you've been since she died. David's phone rang. Anna's name appeared on the screen. David, her voice was shaky. You need to come back. Something's happened. He was out the door before she finished the sentence, Marcus close behind. The drive to the hotel felt endless, David's mind spinning through possibilities. Had Mike shown up? Had something happened to Noah? To Emily? He found them in his office at the hotel, Anna holding Noah, Emily curled against her side, and a woman he didn't recognize standing by the window. She was older, well-dressed, with eyes that looked startlingly familiar. David, Anna said, this is Catherine. She's Mike's mother. David tensed, moving protectively closer to Anna and the children, but Catherine held up her hands in a peaceful gesture. I'm not here to cause trouble, she said, her voice cultured, nothing like what David would have expected from Mike's mother. I came to apologize and to offer help. Help? Anna's voice was skeptical. Catherine reached into her purse and pulled out a thick envelope. Documentation of every lie my son has told. Medical records showing his history of drug abuse and mental instability. Text messages where he admits to abandoning you and Noah. Proof that he was fired from his last 3 jobs for theft. Anna stared at the envelope like it might bite her. Why would you do this? Because I failed as a mother, Catherine said simply. I enabled Mike his entire life, made excuses for him, cleaned up his messes. When I saw the news, saw what he was doing to you and your beautiful baby, I realized I couldn't enable him anymore. She pulled out another document. This is a signed affidavit stating that Mike has never provided any support for Noah, that he abandoned you while pregnant, and that he's attempting extortion. I've already sent copies to every media outlet he's spoken to. Emily, who'd been unusually quiet, suddenly spoke up. Are you a good grandma or a bad grandma? Catherine's composure cracked slightly. I haven't had the chance to be any kind of grandma. Mike never told me about Noah until I saw the news. He's a really good baby, Emily informed her seriously. He only cries when he's hungry or needs a diaper. And he likes when you sing to him. Catherine's eyes filled with tears. He's beautiful. He looks just like Mike did as a baby, before I ruined him with my weakness. Anna stood slowly, Noah in her arms. David watched her wrestle with something, anger, fear, hope. Would you like to hold him? Anna asked quietly. Catherine's hands trembled as she accepted Noah, tears flowing freely now. Hello, sweet boy. I'm your grandma Catherine. I'm so sorry I'm late. David felt the room shift, another piece clicking into place in this strange family they were building. Emily tugged on his sleeve. Daddy, does this mean Noah has a grandma now? I only have Grandpa James in Florida, and he never visits. That's up to Anna and Catherine, David said carefully. Catherine looked at Anna. I know I have no right to ask, but I have money. Resources. I want to help. I want to be part of Noah's life if you'll let me. I can stop Mike permanently. I know things about him that would end any custody claim. You turn on your own son? Anna asked. I'm choosing my grandson over my son's cruelty, Catherine corrected. It's a choice I should have made years ago with other people he hurt. Anna looked at David, seeking guidance. He gave the slightest nod. His instincts said Catherine was sincere. We can start slow, Anna said finally. Visits, with me present. See how it goes. That's more than I deserve, Catherine said, handing Noah back reluctantly. I'll have my lawyer contact yours about the Mike situation. He won't bother you again. After Catherine left, leaving her contact information and the precious envelope of evidence, the room felt lighter somehow. Emily immediately claimed Noah, chattering to him about how lucky he was to have a grandma. That was unexpected, David said, moving to stand beside Anna at the window. Everything about this has been unexpected, Anna replied. A week ago, I was sleeping on a bench. Now, I have a job, an apartment, a possible mother-in-law, and... She turned to face him fully. And you. However that happened. However that happened, David agreed, pulling her into his arms. How did the board meeting go? 6 months to prove this won't destroy the company. Anna pulled back. David, that's not enough time. It's plenty of time, he said firmly. The scandal will die down in weeks. Some celebrity will do something outrageous and will be old news. And if you're wrong, then I'll sell my shares and start over. Maybe something smaller, more personal. Sarah always said the company got too big, that we lost sight of why we started it. Emily appeared between them, Noah in her arms with suspicious confidence for a 5-year-old. Are you two going to get married? Emily. David's face flushed. What? Chloe's mom is on her 3rd husband, and she says it's important to lock things down quickly in New York because the competition is fierce. Anna burst out laughing, the sound filling the office like music. Your friend Chloe's mom sounds like a piece of work. She drinks wine at all the school events and cries in the bathroom, Emily reported matter-of-factly. But she has a really nice car. David groaned. Emily, we've talked about repeating things you overhear. I'm not overhearing. She talks really loud. Anna's phone buzzed. She looked at it, and her face went pale. Oh, God. What? David was instantly alert. She showed him the screen. It was a video, already viral, of the board meeting. Someone had recorded David's entire speech about choosing humanity over profit, about Sarah dying while he was in a meeting. The caption read, CEO chooses love over billions. Which board member? David started, then stopped. It didn't matter. What mattered was that their private moment was now public consumption. But then Anna started reading the comments aloud. This man is goals. Finally, a CEO with a heart. Protect David and Anna at all costs. This is what love looks like. We're trending, Emily announced, having somehow acquired David's phone. #1 in New York, #3 nationally. Oh, and someone started a GoFundMe for Noah's college fund. It's already at $50,000. What? Anna grabbed the phone. No, that's not right. We don't need... Let them, David said quietly. People want to be part of something good. Let them. Marcus appeared in the doorway. You might want to see this. He turned on the office television. CNN was running a segment on David and Anna, but it wasn't the salacious takedown they'd expected. Instead, it was a thoughtful piece about wealth, privilege, and the responsibilities of the ultra-rich. They'd interviewed homeless advocates who praised David's direct action. They'd found 3 other families David had quietly helped over the years, a fact that even Anna didn't know. You've done this before? Anna asked. David shrugged uncomfortably. Sarah started a program. After she died, I kept it going, quietly. The Sarah Miller Foundation, Marcus added. It's helped house over 200 families in the past 2 years. David never let us publicize it. Mom always said the best help is the kind no one sees, Emily chimed in, still playing with Noah. The segment ended with the anchor saying, in a time of increasing wealth inequality, David Miller reminds us that privilege can be used for purpose. The board must be thrilled, Anna said dryly. The board can adapt or leave, David replied. I'm done apologizing for having a heart. Over the next few days, the story evolved in ways none of them expected. The GoFundMe for Noah reached $200,000 before Anna insisted it be closed and the money redirected to the Sarah Miller Foundation. Catherine proved good to her word, not only shutting down Mike's extortion attempts, but also establishing a trust fund for Noah that Mike couldn't touch. The hotel saw a surge in bookings from people wanting to support the CEO who chose love. But it wasn't all positive. Photographers still followed them everywhere. Emily couldn't play in the park without being photographed. Anna received death threats from people who thought she was a gold digger. David had to hire additional security. "This isn't sustainable," Anna said one evening. They were in David's apartment, Emily asleep on the couch, Noah in his bouncer. The curtains were drawn against the photographers camped outside. "It will calm down," David insisted, but even he sounded less certain than before. "Emily can't live like this. She's a child. She deserves normalcy." "Normal is overrated," Emily said, apparently not as asleep as they'd thought. "I don't want normal. I want us." She climbed into Anna's lap, something she'd started doing naturally, as if Anna had always been there to provide comfort. "But sweetie, you can't even go to school without people taking pictures," Anna said, smoothing Emily's hair. "So? They take pictures because they think our family is special. And it is special. We have Daddy, and you, and Noah, and now Grandma Catherine, and maybe we could get a dog?" "Nice try," David said, but he was smiling. "Emily," Anna said carefully, "I'm not trying to replace your mom." "I know," Emily said simply. "Mommy can't be replaced. But that doesn't mean we can't add more people. Mommy would want us to add more people. She always said love multiplies. It doesn't divide." David had to turn away, overcome with emotion. Anna held Emily tighter, this wise little girl who understood more about love and loss than most adults. "So we weather the storm," Anna said finally. "Together." "Together," Emily agreed, then yawned massively. "Can I sleep in the big bed tonight?" And so they found themselves in David's massive bed. Emily sprawled in the middle, Noah in his bassinet beside them, David and Anna on either side like bookends. It should have been awkward, but instead it felt right, like pieces of a puzzle finally fitting together. "Tell me something about Sarah," Anna whispered in the darkness. It had become a ritual, these stories about the woman whose ghost lived in every corner of their lives. "She would have loved you," David said softly. "She would have taken one look at you and Noah and brought you home, just like Emily did. She would have told the board to go to hell, probably more colorfully than I did. I wish I could have met her." "You did, in a way. Everything good in Emily, that's Sarah. The kindness, the fierce loyalty, the inability to walk away from someone in need." Emily stirred between them. "And the stubborn part. Don't forget the stubborn part." "Definitely the stubborn part," David agreed, pressing a kiss to his daughter's head. Anna's phone lit up with a text. She almost ignored it, but something made her look. It was from Jennifer Walsh at the Times. "Check your email. You'll want to see this before it goes live tomorrow." Anna opened her email, David reading over her shoulder. The subject line read, "The woman behind the scandal, an investigation." The article was thorough, almost invasively so, but it wasn't the hit piece Anna expected. Jennifer had dug deep, finding Anna's college professors who praised her talent, her former employers who confirmed she was a dedicated worker, even her mother's oncologist who described how Anna had cared for her mother during her final months. There were photos of Anna's design work, proof of her skills and ambition before life derailed her. But the real bombshell was at the end. Jennifer had found security footage from Anna's old apartment building, showing Mike leaving with suitcases the day Anna found out she was pregnant. She'd tracked down his ex-girlfriends, 3 of whom confirmed patterns of abandonment and emotional abuse. She'd even found the pawn shop where Mike had sold Anna's mother's jewelry while Anna was in the hospital giving birth. "This completely vindicates you," David said, amazed. "It violates my privacy," Anna corrected, but there was relief in her voice too. "But if it shuts down the gold digger narrative—" "It does more than that," David said. "It shows exactly who you are. A survivor, a fighter, a woman who deserves respect, not pity or judgment." Emily had gone back to sleep, her hand clutching Anna's shirt. Noah made a small sound, and David immediately got up to check on him, returning with the baby in his arms. "He's growing," David said, settling back into bed with Noah on his chest. "Look how much bigger he is than just a week ago." Anna watched David with her son, the easy way he'd taken to fatherhood again, and felt her heart crack open a little wider. This man who'd lost everything had somehow found room to love again, to take in strangers and make them family. "I love you," she said, the words escaping before she could stop them. David went very still. Even Noah seemed to pause in his squirming. "I'm sorry," Anna started. "I know it's too soon, too complicated." "I love you too," David interrupted. "I've been afraid to say it, afraid it was too much too fast. But Anna, I loved you the moment you let Emily wrap her scarf around Noah. I loved you when you stood in my hotel room, terrified but still fighting. I loved you when you told the New York Times I had integrity. I love you right now, messy and complicated and real." Anna was crying, silent tears that felt like release. "I don't know how to do this. How to be what you and Emily need." "Just be yourself," David said simply. "That's all we've ever needed." Noah chose that moment to spit up all over David's chest. Emily woke up complaining about the smell. The romance of the moment shattered into the chaos of real life. David changing his shirt, Anna cleaning Noah. Emily demanding to know why babies were so gross. But later, after Noah was settled and Emily was truly asleep, David and Anna lay facing each other in the darkness. "The 6 months the board gave you," Anna whispered. "What happens if the company doesn't recover?" "Then I'll have lost a company but gained a life," David replied. "Sarah built the Archer with me because she believed in creating beautiful spaces where people could connect. Somewhere along the way, I forgot about the connection part, focused only on the spaces. You've reminded me what matters. The board will destroy you if they can. Let them try. I have something they don't, a reason to fight that goes beyond stock prices." Anna moved closer, careful not to wake Emily. "I never expected this. Any of this. When you stopped that night, I thought you'd give us a meal, maybe some money, then disappear. I never imagined that I'd fall in love with you, that you'd see me as worth loving." David's hand found hers across Emily's sleeping form. "Anna, you're worth everything, you and Noah and this little family we're building. It's messy and complicated, and the press won't leave us alone, and the board wants me gone, but it's real. It's the most real thing I've felt in 2 years." The next morning brought a new wave of chaos. The Times article had indeed shifted public perception, but it had also brought out more crazies. David's security team intercepted 3 attempted break-ins at Anna's official apartment. Someone leaked Emily's school schedule, leading to photographers trying to get pictures through the classroom windows. "This ends now," David said, pacing his office like a caged lion. Marcus and the head of security stood watching him warily. "What do you have in mind?" Marcus asked. "We go fully public. Complete transparency. We do one major interview, tell the whole story, then refuse to discuss it again. We control the narrative completely." "That's risky," Marcus warned. "Everything about this is risky," David countered, "but hiding isn't working. Anna deserves to live freely, not like a prisoner." "What does Anna think?" Marcus asked pointedly. David paused. It was a fair question. He'd been making decisions for both of them, assuming he knew best. But that wasn't partnership. He found Anna in the hotel's childcare center, where she was spending her lunch break with Noah. She was sitting on the floor, helping him with tummy time, while other employees' children played around them. It was such a normal scene, yet David knew how hard-won that normalcy was. "We need to talk," he said, sitting beside her. Anna's face immediately tensed. "That's never good." "No, it's not bad. I've been making decisions without consulting you about how to handle the press, the board, all of it. That's not fair." Anna studied him. "You're used to being in charge." "Yes, but this isn't a business deal. This is our life, your life. What do you want, Anna? How do you want to handle this?" Anna was quiet for a long moment, watching Noah grab at a toy. "I want to stop hiding," she said finally. "I want to take Emily to the park without bodyguards. I want to work without photographers trying to get pictures through the windows. I want Noah to grow up normal, not as the baby from the scandal. So we tell our story. Once, completely. Then move on. Together? Together." They chose Oprah. Because if you're going to tell your story to the world, you might as well do it with the queen of interviews. She came to them, setting up in David's apartment, wanting the intimacy of their real space. Emily was thrilled. "Oprah! In our house! Wait until I tell Chloe." The interview was scheduled for 3 hours, but went for 5. Oprah had a way of drawing out truth, of making them comfortable enough to be vulnerable. David talked about Sarah's death, about the guilt and grief that had consumed him. Anna spoke about her mother, about Mike, about the terror of sleeping on the streets with a newborn. They talked about that first night, about Emily's insistence on helping, about how love had snuck up on them while they were just trying to survive. "So what now?" Oprah asked as the cameras rolled. "The board has given you 6 months. The press won't leave you alone. You're facing challenges from all sides. What's next?" David and Anna looked at each other, then at Emily playing with Noah on the carpet, then back at Oprah. "We live," Anna said simply. "We raise our children. We work. We love. We stop apologizing for finding each other in unusual circumstances." "The world wants to make this complicated," David added, "but it's actually very simple. 2 broken families found each other and decided to heal together. That's the whole story." Oprah smiled that knowing smile that had made her famous. "And the wedding?" "Because you know everyone's wondering." Emily's head shot up from where she was playing. "Wedding? Are we having a wedding?" David's face flushed. "We haven't—" "Someday," Anna interrupted, smiling at David's surprise. "When we're ready. When it's about us and not about proving something to the world." "But someday," Oprah pressed gently. "Someday," David confirmed, his eyes never leaving Anna's face. After Oprah and her crew left, the apartment felt strangely quiet. Emily was bouncing with excitement about being on TV. Noah needed a bottle. Life continued its rhythm, despite the magnitude of what they'd just done. "That was terrifying," Anna said, collapsing on the couch. "That was perfect," David corrected, sitting beside her. "You were perfect." "Did you mean it?" "About someday?" David pulled her close. "I meant it. When you're ready. When the chaos dies down. When it can be about us, not about the scandal or the board or anything else. That could be a long time." "I'm not going anywhere," David said firmly, "however long it takes." Emily climbed between them, Noah in her arms with her usual confident grip. "I think we should have the wedding at the hotel. On the roof by the pool. And Noah can be the ring bearer, and I can be the flower girl, and we can have chocolate cake." "You've got it all planned out," Anna laughed. "Someone has to," Emily said seriously. "You adults make everything too complicated." Looking at this little girl who'd lost so much but still believed in happy endings, Anna felt the last of her resistance crumble. Maybe Emily was right. Maybe they were making it too complicated. Maybe love was just this simple, choosing each other again and again, despite the chaos. "Okay," Anna said, surprising everyone, including herself. "Not tomorrow, not next month, but someday. We'll have a wedding on the roof by the pool with chocolate cake." "And a dog?" Emily asked hopefully. "Don't push it," David laughed, but Anna could see him weakening. That night, after the children were asleep, David and Anna stood on the terrace looking out at the city. The photographers had finally given up for the day. The world had moved on to other scandals. For the moment, they had peace. "The interview will air next week," David said. "After that, everything changes again." "Then we have a week," Anna said, turning in his arms. "A week to just be us." "What do you want to do with it?" Anna thought about all the things they hadn't been able to do. Simple things like grocery shopping together, taking the kids to the zoo, having dinner in a restaurant without being photographed. "Everything," she said. "I want to do everything normal couples do." "We're not exactly normal," David pointed out. "No," Anna agreed, standing on her toes to kiss him. "We're better. We're extraordinary." And for that week, they were. They went to the zoo, Emily insisting on seeing every animal while Noah slept through most of it. They had dinner at a tiny Italian place in Brooklyn where no one recognized them. They took the subway, David clearly out of his element but gamely holding on to the pole, while Emily shrieked with delight at the speed. They were building something, Anna realized. Not just a relationship, but a life. A real, messy, complicated, beautiful life.